There is only one solution. Intifada revolution.
We have to talk about this. Jewish students across American campuses, particularly at places like Columbia University, are facing a chilling reality that mirrors the dark times of Europe when the Nazis rose to power. Here's the truth that no one wants to talk about. Protesters screaming about justice and rights probably don't even know what they're protesting about.
And what would you say is the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU's doing?
No, I'm serious. Ask them to point out Israel on the map and you'll see blank stares. 99% of them probably can't even point to Israel on the map. Now, let's talk about discrimination. It's the 1930s all over again. But instead of Jews being marked in Europe, they're being singled out at universities in the United States of America. 1938, University of Vienna. Jewish students were barred from entering university grounds, and their right to education was brutally stripped away under Nazi policy. Today, in the United States, at Columbia University, Jewish students face physical assaults and exclusion, forcibly removed from campus spaces by anti-Semitic mobs, mirroring the exclusion once seen in Vienna. Kristallnacht, 1938, known as the Night of Broken Glass, this pogrom saw the destruction of Jewish storefronts, synagogues, and homes across Germany. Columbia University today, the smashing of glasses and doors only because there are Jewish students on campus. And no, don't get me started on the lie that it's about Israel and not about the Jews. Here's a Jewish student that has nothing to do with Israel who is blocked and not allowed to enter the university he paid to study at only because he's Jewish. They prove to everybody that their problem is with the Jews. Israel is just an excuse. Nazi Germany, early 1930s. Jews were increasingly attacked by armed SA paramilitaries, often with little to no police intervention. UCLA today, a Jewish man is attacked with a taser by anti-Israel protesters and nearby police do not intervene. This is a really bad throwback to the lawlessness Jews faced under Nazi rule. Nazi checkpoints, 30s to 40s. Jews were frequently stopped and their movements were restricted within cities. They were forced to move into fenced ghettos and were later sent to concentration camps. UCLA today, again, Jewish students faced checkpoints set up by radical students, interrogated about their Zionist beliefs, just like the oppressive tactics in Nazi Germany. Nazi propaganda. The spread of anti-Semitic propaganda was the key tool for the Nazis. And today at George Washington University, a student displays a final solution sign at a protest, a horrifying nod to the Nazi genocide plans against Jews. They don't even hide their true colors anymore. Academic exclusions in Nazi Germany. Jewish academics were some of the first dismissed from their positions under Nazi policies. Today, a Jewish professor was barred from entering the university where he teaches only because he's Jewish, and supposedly only for his safety. Are you kidding me? So instead of dispersing the violent protests in campus, they take action against a Jewish professor that poses no threat to anyone? Nazi public symbols. During the Nazi era, symbols like the swastika were not just emblems of the Nazi party, but became tools of terror, prominently displayed to spread fear and promote the party's genocidal ideology against Jews and other groups. Stand for Your University today, a student proudly wears a Hamas headband on campus, normalizing a symbol of violence and terrorism. This is a group, keep in mind, that mere months ago executed ruthlessly civilians in their bedrooms only because they were Jews. 1,200 in number. How can this be allowed on campuses? Just as Nazi swastikas were paraded in Nazi Germany, today in New York City, Hezbollah flags are embraced by protesters, signaling a disturbing comfort with terrorist symbols in public spaces. This is a very confused generation. A generation that abuses the freedom their grandparents fought for. A generation that takes peace for granted and therefore looks for action. War is bad. It should not be celebrated. The parallels are clear and deeply troubling. The tactics of intimidation, exclusions, and violence that were used as tools of Nazi oppression against Jews are being mirrored in the actions of some protesters on today's campuses. I I have to point out that unlike Nazi Germany, what's happening on campuses is not a systematic policy against Jews, but rather lack of policy against rioters who target Jews. Jews must be safe wherever they are, just like any other group has to be safe wherever they are. Don't be indifferent. Jews are 0.2% of the world's population. Anti-Semitism is not a Jewish problem. It's a humanity problem that we all have to unite against.